Hello, it's Classy here back with another Tribes video, and today we are going to showcase two teams that you should try out for Abyss. I've made a lot of Abyss guides in the past, so I don't want to keep repeating the same information, so I decided to just do some team showcases that have worked for other players. Now a quick update about my channel. I've hit 1K thanks to all of you, and I did do a face reveal on Pain's stream as I hit 1K during that stream. I still need like more watch hours, I think, before monetization, so I'm completely fine with that and it'll happen eventually. But in the meantime, I've got some other videos planned. For example, a new guide for Alliance Team Battle, which you can see is happening very soon, and then a guide for the Shinobi Genealogy Tales, which should come out in a few days as well. Now for the 1K sub specials, we were going to do a competition between me and Pain with regards to a new account to see who can get a better new account. Maybe like 3 weeks of playing, we'll compare and see, who has better units and teams and stuff. And then probably some videos on the side more about me in general and not tribes, if you guys want to see that. But for today's video, let's just jump right into these Abyss teams. So for Abyss, you obviously have a lot of time, as in you have 30 turns to use, and that's why Abyss teams right now are including a lot of tanks and healers that will allow you to outlast your opponent. Then you'll eventually just take all of them out. Even if it takes more than 30 turns, that's okay, because you're keeping, the chakra and progress, and you can just enter the stage again. As long as you're keeping your units alive, you'll win eventually. And if you don't play for a day, it will reset your units and keep you on the stage that you ended off at. So the first team I want to show is kind of like an updated version to the team that is the meta right now. So it involves 2 healers, 2 Sakuras, it has a tribe, and then it has B version 2 and some other tanks and KCM and Sai. So this team basically just allows you to tribe very often, and the tribe will give your units a very big boost and it'll be your main source of damage. The rest of the team is all about sustain, so protecting yourself with tanks like Killer Bee and Kid Naruto, and then healing back up if you need to. Sakura Blossom heals but also gives tribe gauge, so you can tribe more often. So we've already seen this before, and it is a tried and true strategy for beating the Abyss floors. It's very consistent. It might take a while sometimes, but it will get you there in the end. Now speaking of tribe specials, right now I'm personally using the Commander of Heavy tribe. As you can see, it has a lot of great defense boosts, also attack boosts. But people also like to use the Path to Hokage tribe, which I haven't upgraded yet, but that's basically KCM, Kid Naruto, and then you are Hokage Naruto, so you can just put that in force instead. So once you do that, you'll notice that you have 2 extra spaces where these 2 are, and for these 2 spaces you can put other tanks like Gaara, Asuma, and things like that, because these 2 will already be on your team just in the other cell, and you don't really need these 3 anymore if you're using Path to Hokage. So both of these tribes are very valid options, and this has worked very well for a lot of other players. Now you don't have to follow this exact setup. There's a lot of flexibility, but as long as you keep the ideas the same, you'll be good to go for Abyss. Now this second team that I want to show was given to me by Karingan, and this is known as the Day 1 full clear team because it just allows you to clear very fast and get through a lot of floors. Now The trick here is that it still has the same tribe, so you can use Pato Kage again if you want to. And this time it will have 2 tribe gauge boosters because Jiraiya is here. So Jiraiya and Blossom together will give you a lot of tribe gauge. Of course, B version 2's here is really strong. We also have Chiyo here for passive healing instead of T Sakura, which has healing on her jutsu. Chiyo just heals when she gets into rotation, and she heals by quite a significant amount, as I'll show you later. And of course we have Sai. And I put in the KCM here, but you can put in, some of the other options that I talked about earlier. If you're using Pato Kage, because he'll be up here, the Force Cell. But the point of this team is to get the rotation in a way that you tribe with Force and then you have Spirit right after. So after that, you'll use your Spirit jutsus, get your tribe gauge back up to full, and then energy will rotate in, but you don't actually use them. So that's why we want the passive healing, because you still get all the passives from energy, but you don't actually use them because you'll tribe right after. So you get the energy rotation and then you just tribe to Force, fill up your tribe gauge again with Spirit, then get the energy rotation, then keep doing that. So it's basically like tribing every other turn if you can do this right. And it's definitely very strong and a good way to clear. Now, this team might be a little bit weaker sometimes at the later floors where you can't take out the units as fast. So once you get as far as you can with this, you could definitely go back to your average meta of this team. And the ideas are kind of the same. You always want to get your rotations as good as possible. And that will just allow you to build up gauge, and it makes your squishier units harder to hit because they just rotate out. So now that that's over with, let's take a look at some clips of this specific team working well. Alright, so I'm back with the recording that I took earlier when I was doing this on day 1. I don't really recall what floor this is, but somewhere around 30. And I was just taking a recording because I thought this was a good demonstration of how this team worked. So you notice that I got the rotation down already, and it's already turn 5, so I was able to take out 2 of their units. And obviously it'll take a few turns to fix your rotations. It kind of depends on how lucky you are initially, but either way, you can see that my Spirit is ready. So when we use both Jiraiya and Sakura's jutsus, the tribe gauge will be full. But Shikudai hits a really nasty Shadow Bind on my Sakura, so that means I can't actually use the tribe right now. But there's a ton of healing there from Chiyo's passive. So now we have to wait a little bit, and the rotation gets messed up once again. And obviously these teams work super well when the rotations are perfect, but in Abyss they did make it kind of annoying at the later floors where a lot of the enemies will have some kind of stun possibility or confuse, something like that. So you kind of have to work around that. So now you see that I really need to hit the tribe here even though my rotation's not perfect, because they're using a co-op attack and the tribe boosts a lot of my defense. And these are some of my tankier characters also. So that's why I've decided to use the tribe there. And then I can fix my rotation again. Now that these guys don't have any chakra, they can't really kill me. There you go. Get the boost from Jiraiya. Then I just need to use Blossom. Then my rotation will be perfect again, because I have Force and then Spirit. There you go, nice healing from Blossom also. So Chiyo will just use her passive often, but I never actually use these guys' jutsus. I use them on turn like 1 or 2 because my KCM's transformed. But you can definitely use their juices then, as your setup's not fully ready. So there you go. I tribe. I have 0 tribe gauge. Now these 3 rotate in, I get 3. Then after jutsus from Jiraiya and Blossom, I'll fill up the rest. So now you see that I get these passives from my energy cell, but I don't actually use them. I instead just hit the tribe. Then right after this tribe will be the spirit cell again, and their chakras will be ready. For this team, you definitely need Sai here. For the other team, I've seen people use it without Sai, but you can still use Sai. There we go. Another tribe gauge full. I get the passives again. You can see the small recovery text. So she is healing here every time. She heals the weakest unit on your team. It doesn't have to be an active unit. And my force just gets super tanky after I use the tribe. So I can even tank their tribes if I need to. So there you go. My tribe gauge is full again. I get the passives. But this time, I've decided that I want to save my tribe gauge for the next stage, so I can start with the full bar. That's usually a smart thing to do. Sometimes it's even better to, like, if you're facing one enemy at the end that's pretty weak, you can even take off your jutsus by swiping up and just hit them with regular attacks so you can build your tribe gauge to full and save that for the next stage. So overall, that's how this team works. So that was a pretty cool showcase, I think. And not everyone is going to be able to use this team because they might be missing some of the units. Like for Chio, you need to have her 4 stars. But most people, if you have most of the required Abyss units, you can use the other team that I showed, which doesn't tribe as often, but it has a lot of sustain still, and it will still work very well. So I hope this video helped you guys. Good luck in Abyss, and keep an eye out for future content.